Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with InsideTheU here in Bradenton, Florida at IMG for the UA Next 7-on-7 tournament here. 6 teams here, 2 high school teams, 4 all-star teams. Today was the second day of the event. I watched 10 games today. It was great to watch all these guys in action, including Miami commits and Miami targets. Day 1 was yesterday. They just got 1 game in, and then the tournament will finish up tomorrow with the championship game, 3rd place, 5th place. But today, Miami commits. Let's get right into it. But the quarterbacks, 2028 commit Knox Annis, as well as 2029 quarterback commit CJ Cypher were in action, as well as 2027 wide receiver tight end Demarcus Roach. But first with the quarterbacks, Knox and CJ, a lot of fun to watch as CJ's here with his high school team from Carrollton, Georgia, and then Knox is here with a bunch of all-stars. A lot of the guys on his team are from Florida or from the Southeast. So a little bit different dynamic with the both of them. And I thought both were good early in pool play. You know, Knox was out here, in particular starting with him. Knox, you know, had to split some time at quarterback, but I thought he threw the ball well. He seemed to be very comfortable in throwing some underneath stuff. If if some guys were covered, didn't want to force the issue a little bit, but got into a good rhythm as well. And he's a guy that can throw the deep ball. Look, when you watch him play, when I watched him play at a spring game with Bryson Wright, he wants to throw the ball deep. He's got a good arm. And, you know, just watching him warm up, you know, he certainly likes to throw the deep ball. He has a good deep ball. So he can throw it. Just early on, he was kind of throwing some underneath stuff. He got into a good rhythm, you know, in pool play. And then with CJ and how he played, a little bit of a slow start for him, but then he got going, and he's a guy that right out of the gate, you can see he's willing to throw those 15 to 20 yard passes kind of right next to me here on the sideline. The way it works is 25-minute running clock. They'll stop it, you know, they'll stop clock towards the end sometimes, but they'll start at the 40, you know, the first down 25. But CJ was willing to throw the ball to the outside, a big arm, good arm, wants to throw the ball down the field a little bit more. And I said he got onto a slow start, but finished extremely strong. He got going in some of the middle games, and even at the beginning, you know, it was just a little bit of some slow series to start a game, but really got it going and got his team some wins. And then they'd faced each other, and that was kind of the big highlight of the day. Knox's, you know, icon team with UA against Carrollton, you know, and CJ, and they went head to head. And I asked both of them. I briefly, just, you guys you're looking forward to this? Each one of them, and Knox was smiling. He certainly was, and you know, CJ very calm, but yeah, he was looking forward to it as well. And the way it worked too is while the game is going on, and they just had this one field. Their main field had the games. But on the other end of the field, because they're only using half a field, that's where teams could warm up. So I was down there watching them both warm up. It was fun watching them. They actually had half the field, you know, CJ throwing the ball to one side and Knox right next to him. So it was fun watching them compete, you know, with their respective teams. And, you know, that's what we're expecting at Miami. Look, you know, with Knox in that 28 class and CJ in that 29, although I will say there's a little bit of buzz just around here, you know, that CJ could be possibly reclassifying up to a 28. And then if he does, we'll see how everything kind of plays out with Miami, 2 quarterbacks in the 28 class. But just, I want to pass on some things that I'm hearing there. So we'll see how it plays out. But, you know, I had a chance to watch these guys at a UM camp recently, you know, and they were certainly very talkative. This was before CJ committed, and then right after CJ eventually did commit. But head to head, CJ actually, they kind of went toe to toe. Both of them in good rhythm in the game. And, you know, both of them throwing the ball well, you know, completing passes, played with some good tempo, and tight game. And then about in the 3rd series, Knox had a pass that was deflected and intercepted. And anytime in 7-on-7s, turnovers, you get points, you get 2 points for the defense, but it's really a momentum killer and it's really hard to overcome. And they weren't able to do it. CJ finished the game with 3 touchdowns, 21-18 win, you know, and Knox just had the 1 touchdown pass and actually didn't play in the final series. His backup came in, but so CJ got the better of him today. But it was just fun watching him compete. I thought, you know, so CJ throws 3 touchdowns in that game, in their quarterfinal game, and then moving on to the semifinals, CJ was lights out, 4 touchdown passes in that one. So his team's going to play for the championship game on Sunday. While, you know, Knox, with that loss, they're going to play in the 5th place game, but hopefully he can finish strong. But just overall, really good day from CJ. I touched on earlier that he started off slow, but, you know, finished extremely strong with those 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 games. And look, he's been the best quarterback here, regardless of age. You know, and there's some other guys older than him, obviously, here. So he's been great. He's been fun to watch. The way he throws the ball, but a really good presence from him. Good, calm, you know, kind of even keeled, but you know, he's going to take shots downfield, throw some deep passes. You know, he'll throw it from the 40 into the end zone. You know, he's willing to do that, which was fun watching him and his teammates. But overall, good watching both the quarterbacks. Looking forward to the final day. And then Roach, you know, watching him, he's on a different team. Not as involved. You know, he had 1 catch in the first 2 games, just a 9-yard catch. And then I wasn't able to watch one of his games fully, but I know he had 1 catch in that one, and then had a tip play for a touchdown, kind of a batted ball, kind of right behind me. He was able to get a touchdown catch. So I think he only had 2 catches in that one. So just not an overly active performance out of him. You know, he had a couple opportunities, a couple drops, I thought, or passes he could have caught if they weren't considered drops. But hopefully he can finish strong with his team. And then, you know, watching all these other guys out here. Look, there were over 20 Miami targets out here with offers, regardless of class. So it was good watching them. And one guy in particular, I'm just going to pass on, Logan Thompson, a 2028 cornerback. You know, I had the ISO on him. I was in the end zone, just kind of watching him at cornerback. He's a guy Miami's offered, so I, you know, paying attention to him. But I really liked how he played and how he was playing and performing. And, you know, when you watch corners, particularly in 7-on-7, it doesn't always look great. The ball doesn't go their way, whatever it might be. Sometimes it's just not very active, but he was very active whether the ball went his way or not. So I was enjoying watching him play. Then all of a sudden he gives up a pass, touchdown, and kind of a big catch by his receiver, a couple big catches, impressive catches. But so it's not that I doubt him, but I was really interested in kind of seeing how the rest of it was going to go. And to his credit, head down, didn't really say much or complain, didn't blame his teammates or get real upset, and just kind of kept it going. And later in that game, comes up with 2 pass breakups, another one that might have got his hand on, but really good performance from him, getting his hand in on a couple plays that could have been touchdowns. So, and I talked to him afterwards, and he definitely want to stay tuned to the InsideTheU.com for his article, but he talked about that mentality, next play. And look, he's a 2028 corner, top 5 guy in the country right now out of Illinois at his position. But it's easier said than done in terms of putting plays behind you, especially for young players. And I thought he did a great job of that, even though he gave up a couple passes. And anytime I think about corners giving up passes, even in this setting, but look, I remember Patrick Peterson watching him in high school, a number 1 player, one of the top guys, giving up 2 touchdowns. And it doesn't mean they're not still great players. So looking forward to Logan. I really liked his mentality. He likes Miami. That's kind of the buzz when you talk to guys. A lot of guys are interested in Miami and what they're doing. And speaking of Miami, another guy that was out here, 2029, Demarcus Van Dyke Jr., cornerback, all is 6'4", just has great size and certainly one to watch for in the future. And so that was good. It was kind of good, kind of full circles. Remember covering Demarcus when he was at UM as a player, as a coach, and kind of remembering DJ and hearing his name at the time when he was real young. And here he is on the scene and at this spot. So considered one of the best. So it was good watching him. Other guys, Gabriel Player was a guy, defensive guy that I know a lot of Miami fans are interested in hearing how he's doing. Thought he moved well. Some of these other guys, other corners, did a good job as well. So, you know, wide receivers, all these guys. I'll have plenty of video clips from all the games. Again, I watched all 10 today, the 1 yesterday, 3 tomorrow, to kind of wrap this up. But just real quick, a shout out to Under Armour. Should have done this at the beginning, but shout out to them for putting on a great event. I always enjoy coming up here. Very well organized, detailed. It allows me as a reporter, I'm sure the other reporters feel the same way, to do a good job because of how organized things are. And also shout out to Under Armour for the hat. I really appreciate it. It's always good getting some free gear and being able to use it in videos. So I appreciate that. But stay tuned to InsideTheU.com. I'll break down the stats completely on both the quarterbacks with Knox and CJ. Have them all written down. Don't have them right on hand right now, but I will post that in the daily recap for VIP subscribers. So you can see that and some other guys as well, because like I said, there are over 20 guys with Miami offers out here at this event. It's been great, but thanks for watching. Have a good rest of the day and take care.